and I got meningitis, bacterial sort, and was eventually realised what it was, admitted with septicemia. So had I left it an hour later, I would have died. I wasn't out of the woods at all then. I was told basically, you've got a 50% chance of surviving this, and if you survive it, you still might have brain damage. And I spent 11 days between here and there, and left my body and just bargained hugely to live, but also knew that probably the chance of living was more slim than actually dying. But at that point, I'd already started this project in my local hospital, St George's, and I had been busy trying to build it, trying to make it happen, applying my sort of business hat, firmly wedged on, saying this is what I think is possible. But I hadn't passed it on to anybody. And I thought, if I die now, the project that I've seen for both St George's and wider nationally won't be able to move forward, put it that way. So I begged to live for the project. At the end of that stay in hospital, the name came to me full circle, and I fought very hard to keep that name. So, on my journey, I learned, actually this came from, because I went to Harvard to study the relaxation response, the science of relaxation, and it's equal and opposite the stress response. So this actually came from there. So this is what they see as what overall health means. This is obviously a medical environment, but it was 2007, I think it was pioneering. Okay, pharmaceuticals. I myself, definitely meningitis, was saved by some pharmaceuticals. Surgery I didn't need, but obviously surgery is needed. But the third leg of this stool is self-care, or integrated care as they were calling it 12 years ago. And I just, that struck me, that's important. It's that three-way, if you need, like with me. I didn't want to go in for my lupus and stayed out. I used one of those legs very, thankfully, touch wood, successfully. Briefly about St George's, where we're based, where I ended up by being asked to set up this project. It's, some of you may not have heard of it. It's actually the site for 24 hours in A&E. It saved my life. It's a big hospital, big reach. We have a helipad. We're a national centre for trauma medicine, regional providers for cancer, paediatric medicine, etc. So what is Full Circle? It provides therapies. It provides therapies that are, as much as we can, and this project's been going since 2001, basic on evidence, or evidence informed, where there is not a huge evidence base. We've looked at the best evidence that we can find. We support very, very sick children and adults. Our mission is those with life-limiting or life-threatening conditions. Our focus is to reduce stress and anxiety as really a pivot point. To enable self-help strategies, very much like I was told by my very first massage practitioner, there's something you too can do to help yourself. We have developed pain management areas, very exciting areas, in areas of many people would already be familiar of unmet need, or all party parliamentary groups also call them effectiveness gaps, where medicine can go so far, there's a gap. The person is still suffering, whether they had surgery or they have whatever. So, chemotherapy or whatever. There's areas of unmet need. This is our lane. This is where we're working. But I didn't say that in the early days at all. In fact, I was told to stay under the radar by the nurses, because in 2001, the environment in the NHS was very different, shall we say. Ultimately, supporting quality of life. We offer tailored programs of a range of integrated therapy interventions I'll talk about in a moment, and they are adapted, so it's very modular. Right at the very onset, having been on the sort of pointy end of the need, I realised what was needed was really expert practitioners. No room for error, no room for anything that could throw a patient. I've been so vulnerable that it would take only a look of fear or panic or a loss of hope in the eyes of your clinician and your doctor. I speak from experience. I would have gone, if they've lost hope in me, I don't know how to fight this, and trust me, I fought like a demon to live, but I was always looking for, do they think I'm going to make this? We've established for a long time now a fantastic clinical mentoring and training program of our practitioners, already qualified obviously, with a lot of them have a good experience, but to deliver them into the complex areas that we now work, we leave no stone unturned in that. And so we've been doing 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1 sort of training, but the move from those that have gone through our training to their friends is, we want to hear this, we want to do this. So we're setting up a school early in 2020 to basically deliver what we do on our 1-to-1, 2-to-1. Again, it's really skilling up already fantastic practitioners. We now have received many awards, exceptional awards, just hardly ever given out by a consultant nomination there. To very recently, last weekend, International Surgery Conference, 3 or 4 possible awards. And an excellence award. So our 2 services, we've got our main one, what I call our seatbed at St George's, and last year, just 1 year ago, we opened a second one in Brighton, Brighton Sussex University Hospital. So you can see the areas that we work. Started in the haematology unit. It's moved out towards oncology, palliative care, paediatric medicine, neurointensive neurosurgery, the list does go on, cardiac surgery, etc. All of those are requested by nurses or doctors. So we started in haematology, and it's like a circle, it's spiralled out. Sussex Hospital, the same, started in cancer. They now have said, we want this for our other 3 hospitals across the coast of Sussex, which is very exciting. So what do we offer? I split it into touch therapies, so clinical massage, rehabilitation massage, which was brought in by one of my amazing team, who's now the one leading at Brighton. She's trained in sports massage therapy, reflexology, infant massage, Bowen therapy is a new one we're looking at offering. Energy therapy, bioenergy was the first one I introduced. Now it's Reiki, and we've got a lovely project there to touch on. The relaxation response, when we talk about self-help therapies, what can we do? So relaxation response, very specific breathing techniques, clinical hypnotherapy, mindfulness, breath focus training, yoga, visualization, tools in the toolbox. Not all is right for people, we offer them, we encourage them to try and move. So where are we at? We've got this project, we're in a lot of areas, so right at the very, when was it, 2006 I suppose, we were seeing really good really good feedback coming in. I went to our consultant, I said, we need to be evidencing this. And this was obviously a long time ago, and we went to the trust director, medical director, and said, we need to be evidencing this. She said, don't go off doing research, therefore don't use, this was 2006 now, don't use the validated tools, develop your own tool, work with the audit and effectiveness team, develop it, don't wander into research because there's a whole load of ethics issues there. So we did that, that was the advice then. Times have moved on, that was the advice then. So, so we designed this evaluation form. It enabled us to explore some really interesting emergent themes that were coming from the patients. It was qualitative and quantitative. So it allowed some open text, open boxes, so they could actually give some of their own feedback, which I always felt was really important, along with obviously stats and stuff. We've also got some amazing case studies now. I'm just going to touch on a couple of them. And we're at this point now where we are sure of some emergent themes. We've seen some really, we work in obviously areas where there is a big need, where medicine hasn't got the answer, so we are working very much with clinicians. They're with us, they're helping us, they want us to now try to evidence this. In the early days, very different. No, hardly ever turned up to meetings, didn't want to know. The nurses were the ones who kept the door open for us. I have a lot of respect for the nurses, but the current range of doctors we work with are amazing, absolutely amazing. So just very quickly, just one of our 5,000 patients, leukemia patient, had gone through a very severe, aggressive form of leukemia, had received a bone marrow transplant, so he'd had roughly 7 months in hospital in an isolation room, having chemo, month in, month out, and then a transplant. 3 months later, he was with a rapidly progressing paralysis. It was on his spine, caused by an infection, and it had impacted on the spinal cord. So it was a grade 4 spinal, it was grade 4 spinal impact. So he was effectively paralysed from the waist down. He was not expected to walk again. They were simply stabilising him to then transfer him to the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital. He called us immediately. We actually got a referral from a request from him and also from the clinical team on the ward, who obviously we see who's readmitted back into haematology. So we immediately rolled out a plan for him. I'll be absolutely honest, we weren't expecting huge shifts because we've been told it's fait accompli. The chap is paralysed. But we all felt, and one of my amazing practitioners here, Gabriella, we all felt the guy has gone through so much. In the back of my mind is always his spirit is hanging by a thread. So we rolled out a program, really more from his humanitarian perspective, to be absolutely honest. At the third session, the practitioner was involved, who I think was Gabriella, who's here today, noticed there was an involuntary movement on a certain reflex. She fed that back to me. We then changed the protocol. All other practitioners, we said, report where you were working on the foot that created an involuntary movement. We continued. Each time there was involuntary movement, it was in the same area, and it was to do with his spine and to do with his hip reflex. We also use relaxation and movement likely visualization, evidence-based, physios use it, and also a little bit later rehabilitative massage therapy. And sort of through the time, but actually more afterwards, because what happened at about the 7th treatment, he started to move his foot. In fact, Gabriella was with him that day, it was Friday, and she thought it was an involuntary movement, and she said, "Can you see your foot, involuntary movement?" And he went with a huge grin on his face, "I'm moving my toe." So rushed out to get a consultant. He said to Gabriella, "Impossible." So he ran in, "Hey, I hit you with your foot." Toe. Okay, toe. Wow. His protocol changed. At that point, they called in the physio because they thought he actually could rehab here. So, overall, he spent 9 months in hospital. We threw rather a lot at him. 126 treatments. Fully engaged with us. Fully engaged. And that's, I think, a really important thing. He had 5 therapists involved. It cost $4,000. Was it worth it? He did not need to go to Samuel. This was written quite a long while ago. 1.3 miles, he texted Gabriella saying, "I've just walked 1.3 miles. Where did you go?" "To the pub." Nothing like that. Yeah. Anyway, he now walks 100% unaided, and he was in clinic not long ago, and he's a very serious guy, he's a geologist, and he just went like this to the consultant. "Oh, what's happening here?" And he went, "Just because I can." And we're getting one case study out of it. If we need anything more out of it, we're getting a case study out of it. So the effectiveness gaps I spoke about, I'm going to whistle through this. Head and neck cancer patients with osteoradionecrosis caused by radiotherapy, necrosing the jaw, kills the jaw. The pain is 8, 9 out of 10, constant, not able to be resolved by medication, pain medication. Chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy, sickle cell disorder, adolescents with life-limiting eating disorders, anorexia, funded by the Wimbledon Tennis Foundation, paediatric intensive care, ex-premature babies. It's an example. Head and neck cancer, just very quickly, this is a really exciting project. We had a fantastic practitioner, Kate. She volunteered for a year. She's a dentist with hypnotherapy experience. She said, "Do you need me?" I said, "Oh, yes." So I pulled in the clinical nurse specialist for for head and neck and the consultant, and we said, let's try and build a 1-year project with her. Let's see what's possible. This was the reason for referrals were significant pain, more than 6 out of 10, long-term nutritional deficiencies, etc. This one particular patient, there were 9 that went through the program. He He had been on liquid diet for 4 years. His fatigue was 9 out of 10, not worth getting out of bed, he said. Dry mouth, total loss of appetite, gag reflex, even water was making, and his pain in his jaws 8 out of 10 with the maximum pain medication. By session 3, it was down to 6 out of 10. We were using a validated score by then. Validated tool, visual analog, it's excellent. So pain was coming down, we were able to chart it. Session 5, able to be outside and enjoy. 8 down to 3 out of 10, and so on and so forth. He increased his weight, which he needed to. He then started to be able to eat his own foods rather than being tube-fed, and stopped medication, which he had been on for 4 years. We still see him for follow-ups. He's doing really well. So, chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy. This came out of our first evaluations. Patients were telling us my numbness, my tingling in my feet is, and we were like, oh, we weren't even referred for that. The doctors didn't think that reflexology would help. We then built the project, introduced massage, introduced Reiki, introduced clinical hypnotherapy. Amazing stuff going on. From the evaluations, we were able to look at the number of treatments. This is working, sorry. Anyway, as you move across, that's not ideal like that, is it? Sorry, that's my mistake there. Anyway, it's the number of treatments along is increasing the effectiveness. But everyone is different, so pain, it takes, in the instance we were looking at, about 9 treatments. But you see, from the first treatment, which is the far left-hand column, it's about 20% are saying that it reduces their pain. And as you go to 2 to 4 treatments, half of them saying it reduces their pain. So we're starting to see, with reflexology, the length of effect is typically about 1 day, but there is no medication that can ease these symptoms, and it's nerve damage to the lining of the nerves in the feet. So overall, over all our treatments, in this one particular piece of work we did of 150 patients, 72% of reflexology length of effect is a day or more. Quite recently we introduced Reiki, a big project, big focus project. From that, one of my trustees is at the Mayo Clinic, and she's hooked us up with them. We've now partnered with them to do some research with Reiki at the Mayo, which is their first external, certainly their first project in the UK. For, again, peripheral neuropathy, if you're interested, I can happily let the slides come out to yourselves. There's some lovely interviews or actually discussions with patients between themselves about how the clinical hypnotherapy and mindfulness has helped them. Absolutely, the 3 that we've interviewed have all amazing stories. 2 of them were able to get back to work. The other one is just beautiful. I saw him, he was in tears when I met him. He was so close to giving up. And I just said, keep going with the Paul, who's our practitioner for this. Anyway, it's a beautiful conversation. If you can find it on our website, it's just Heartbrings Ed is his name. Sickle cell, I'm running out of time, but I will leave it all there for you to see. That was the first consultant for sickle cell who said there's an ethical reason. See what your project's doing. There's an ethical reason. If you know about sickle cell, you know what they suffer with. It's a life sentence of an illness. We've got an amazing project for them. This is sort of roughly how it all started. This particular patient was spending 162 days in hospital with his condition, which is excruciating pain. I've just come back from Harvard, and I wanted to teach him the relaxation response. And he got it. He used it, and from the moment he used it, we just watched his admissions cascade down such that there was a 56% reduction in his admissions, and his admissions were shorter. We did cost it, but the cost to him is immeasurable. Pediatrics, big project there came about because of a physiotherapist who'd seen us on the adult wards, and she was in paediatric intensive care. I waited for 6 years to get into paediatrics. I was always told, don't try, too complicated, We were cleared in 24 hours. Our team is so well respected in St George's, but it's been earned, it's been built, it's been a long process. We're nearly 19 years in there. So those are some of our, this is the last one, which is a little girl. She just encapsulates everything, she encapsulated it all to me. You can read some of her conditions that she was obviously contending with. But actually it was a plea from the nurse looking after her. She arrested in her last operation under anaesthetic, and she needed another operation, and they didn't think she'd survive it. And her actual reason for referral was, can you please just help her last few days, weeks, be pleasant. That's all we want now for her. She was in a wheelchair, not expected to walk again. She'd been incredibly stoic. 5 years in hospital pretty much the whole time, doing Great Ormond Street, St George's. This is in her own words, after having probably a good 40 treatments, I'd say. I just love it. She's very organised. She wrote a beautiful letter to a funder, to Direct Line actually, and said just thank you and bless you for coming. And I may look like a well little girl, but I'm not. But I see so many ill children. Can you please help? And how could they resist? They gave us 18,000, I think, for the paediatric project. But she's just wonderful. Yeah. And was out playing football now. Can go back to school. Can go upstairs. Doesn't need a wheelchair, obviously. Walk properly. All her lovely little list of 10 things. Just beautiful. So in summary, we are successfully integrated since 2001 in St George's, since last year in Brighton. It's evidence-based, where is available, evidence-informed. We are adding to that. We're raising standards for psychotherapists are really, really highly skilled, and we put a lot of focus and effort in their mentoring, and that's obviously being rolled out and widened out because of some of the areas we work in. Specialists in transplant and intensive care, etc. It's a replicable know-how. I wanted that before I got my jobs. I said, it's one of the reasons I want to stay. This needs to be rolled out. It doesn't need to be held as, give us a lot of money and we'll say, no, it's needed. The need is there, the willingness is there. There are always nurses, I call them gatekeepers, so look out for them. If you're in hospitals, they're there. They'll move things. It's fully integrated, it's needs-led. We don't shout about what we do, we just do, and we let it evolve. It's clinician-led, it's nurse-led. That's important to me. They are directing how we go and where we go. This is a lovely picture. This is pretty much the whole of the haematology team. We've got a lot of consultants there, nurses, as you can see. Front row, 5 all in white. All of our 5 of our 13 practitioners in the front row there. I've always held this statement very close to me. If complementary and orthodox medical care can be provided together, it is possible that the consequent benefits would be greater than the sum of each. It was a long time ago he wrote that. We are all together there. We won a national award on Monday this week for excellence in myeloma care. They're the patients who have the peripheral neuropathy. It's been a long time coming. It's taken nearly 19 years, but this is what it's been about for us. This one picture encapsulates it. The whole team.